You joining me? Okay, we are already in Parashat Vayetse. I had my second one. I didn't have the second, so booster is because 6 months have already passed. If not, you don't need it. Only when okay. You there, Moshe, already?
Yes. Sorry.
Very good. Open your Humashim, but not. We are on Parashat Vayetse. Okay. So Baruch Hashem, it's good to be back. I come after a very uplifting experience in Israel. I think last week, this time I was in the Kotel, the week before, and I wanted to send you pictures that I was in the Kotel and pray for everyone, for the sick people in the community. And Baruch Hashem, in Israel, you don't feel no crisis, no COVID, no nothing. Really, you go in. They wear masks indoors, especially the businesses. They're very scared to get. So they're all the time telling you the mask, the mask, the mask, the mask. But besides of that, everybody is in the streets, restaurants are open, music everywhere. I was in Yerushalayim most of the time, between Yerushalayim and Ashdod. And Baruch Hashem, I was very happy to see that Israel is back on its feet. The dollar has almost zero value. So you need to take a lot of money there because $100 are nothing. It used to be money. Now it's nothing. But Baruch Hashem, that shows that Israeli economy is strong. So we need to be happy for them. Anyways. I went to visit the girls, our girls that are in seminary. I met with them. I met with Mina one time, then with the other girls we had dinner. And I felt it so important to keep a relationship between the community and when they are there, because when you are in Israel, in this different world, you go through a disconnection and you are up there and then you look from where you are coming and it seems to you that things are not as good as here and they need a reminder. So I kind of gave them a little bit of reminders of what our community is and all the values that we have. I think it's very, very important that they are doing great. They're so sweet and cute and it's beautiful to see them flourishing and happy. So Baruch Hashem, that's what I did. And here we are. We are in our Parashat Vayetse. Where are we standing? Vayetse means, and he left. Who is leaving? From where is he leaving? It's Yaakov. We are after the traumatic episode where Yaakov got the brachot from his father Yitzchak instead of Esav, that was the Bechor. I hope you went through the parashiot the last 2 weeks. And Yaakov is leaving his home, answering the commandment of both his parents. Both parents have different reasons for telling Yaakov, leave, go to your uncle's house. This is the house of Lavan. Lavan is the brother of Rivka, his mother. Why is his mother Rivka telling Yaakov to leave? Because she knows that his brother, her other son, Esav, wants to kill him. Why is Yitzchak, his father, telling him to leave? To find his shidduch. Because Yitzchak, that was so wise, if you look at the end of last week's parasha, look on page 141. On Pasuk 42, when Rebekah was told of the words of her older son, Esav, she sent and summoned Yaakov, her younger son, and said to him, behold, your brother Esav is consoling himself regarding you to kill you. So now, my son, heed my voice and arise, flee to my brother Lavan to Haran, and remain with him a short while until your brother's wrath subsides, until your brother's anger against you subsides, and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of both of you on the same day? Why would she be bereaved from both of them at the same day? Why does she speak as she's going to lose both her boys? If Esav kills Yaakov, she's going to lose one of her sons, right? Why does she say, why should I lose both of you on the same day? You had good memory. Because if Esav kills Yaakov, Esav becomes a killer, a murderer. For a mother to, God forbid, witness her son behaving in those ways is like losing a child, losing a son. So she said, I don't want to lose you both. Go, then he cannot kill you. Unfortunately, she's thinking that he's going to go for a short while. She's thinking that she's going to call him back to come back. But the reality was that Yaakov never reunited with his mother back. He never got to see his mother. So she's kind of losing him in certain way. But she's, we spoke previous years, it's kind of an akedah as well. She's sacrificing the ceremony of being of her son for a greater good, for him to go and build the house of Israel. And then Rivka, besides of sending Yaakov, she goes and speaks with her husband. She needs his consent. She needs his approval. She needs that both of them are on the same page. So what does she do? She tells Yitzchak a different reason. Rivka said to Yitzchak, I am disgusted with my life on account of the daughters of Het. Who has married the daughter of Het? Esav. So she said, my daughters-in-law. I see their behavior. I see what these girls are like. If Yaakov takes a wife of the daughters of Het like this, of the daughters of the land, what is life to me? What do I want to live at all if he marries here? So then she's just hinting to him. I don't want him to marry here, and Yitzchak by himself will give Yaakov the same commandment from different reasons. So Yitzchak summoned Yaakov and blessed him. He instructed him and said to him, do not take a wife from the Canaanite women. Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take a wife from there, from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And may El Shaddai bless you, etc., etc. Now he gives him the real brachot of Abraham. I go to Pasuk 5. So Yitzchak sent away Yaakov, and he went towards Padam Aram to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Aramean brother of Rivka, mother of Yaakov and Esav. Look on Pasuk 7. After we see poor Esav, when he sees this, he also feels that this is wrong, and he wants to marry in a way that will find favor in the eyes of his father. It says here, Pasuk 7, when Esav saw that Yaakov obeyed his father and mother and went to Padam Aram. So just to come back to our parasha, to the beginning of our parasha, when Yaakov is leaving his home, he's going, obeying his dad and his mom. And this includes obeying his mom is escaping the danger of his brother wanted to kill him. Obeying his dad means I'm going on a mission as well. I'm not only escaping, I'm going with a goal, which makes it easier or more difficult for Yaakov to live. It's easier. I'm not just escaping and then I don't know what's going to be with me. I'm going to build a home. I'm going to build my family. I'm going to build Bet Israel. And this is how we start the journey of Yaakov when he starts building his family. First thing, he is obeying his father, of course, by his mother being behind the scene on where to find his shidduch. He goes to Haran. Who else had to find a shidduch from Haran? Yitzchak. Does Yitzchak go to Haran? Eliezer has to go and do it for Yitzchak. Yitzchak is not allowed to go to Haran. It's like we saw with our three avot. Abraham is in Haran. Abraham has to live by Hashem's commandments and come to Canaan. Yitzchak is in Canaan. They have to bring him a wife from Haran to Canaan. Now Yaakov is going back to Haran. It's kind of a opposite lech Lecha. As Abraham in his Lech Lecha went to Canaan, Yaakov in his Lech Lecha, commanded by his parents, is going. Okay, you know this is recording what happened. Okay, so now to our parasha. ויצא יעקב מבאר שבע וילך חרנה, ויפגע במקום וילן שם כי בא השמש, ויקח מאבני המקום וישם מראשותיו, וישכב במקום ההוא. There is a description of what happens when Yaakov leaves. Other years we've spoken about the fact that the parasha is telling us from where Yaakov lives and where is he going. Why does the Torah tell us from where Yaakov is living from Beersheba? We know that he's in Beersheba. Why is the Torah telling us he's leaving Beersheba and he's going to Haran? It's like, imagine you are going to Israel, and instead of saying Blanche is traveling to Israel, I'm saying Blanche is traveling from Great Neck to Israel. If it's to all of us, it's a unnecessary information. We all know from where you are living. Like, why is the Torah telling us that Yaakov is leaving Beersheba to go to Haran? And Rashi brings a beautiful perush. He says that whenever a tzaddik, whenever a just person leaves a geographical place to go to another place, in that place of origin, his absence is felt. How is Rashi saying us? Rashi say here, ויצא, לא היה צריך לכתוב אלא וילך יעקב חרן, ולמה הזכיר יציאתו? אלא מגיד שיציאת צדיק מן המקום עושה רושם, to tell us that when a tzaddik leaves a place, it leaves a strong impression. שבזמן שהצדיק בעיר, הוא הודה, הוא זיווה, הוא הדרה. Because when he lives in the place, you feel it. You feel his presence. You know, there is this amazing figure. You feel the light, his aura, his influence. But whenever he leaves, together with him, his presence, the way he illuminated others around him, the influence that he had on others disappears as well. So this is why the Torah, according to Rashi, is telling us from where is Yaakov living. When Yaakov leaves Beersheba, Beersheba is not the same place. Oh no. There is no campaign. What? Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. It was real a tzaddik. We're speaking about Shmuel Aaron of Zichrono Livracha. He was a tzaddik. He was such an ish chesed. He did so much. You know, it's contagious. It's like when you enjoying the perfume, whenever there is a presence of a very tzaddik person in the place, everybody enjoys somehow, just by looking at him, at her, just by seeing how they behave in their family, just by seeing their actions, it creates some impact, it gives an influence to people around. So that's why the Torah is telling us about Yaakov. Now, I'm not going to really focus on every pasuk. This parasha, every pasuk is a gem. You can learn so much from everything. Perhaps you remember when you were kids and you studied in the school, you know, when he lays down, suddenly it becomes night. A good place for Yaakov to rest. It is the place where Be'ezrat Hashem, the Bet HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt and to be built. And then Yaakov goes to sleep, and it says that he takes one of the rocks and put under his head. So what did you study in the school? That all the rocks were fighting among themselves. Alay yaniach tzaddik rosho. I want the tzaddik to put my head on me. I want. And then Hashem made them to become one together. It's very interesting to analyze and understand what is the Midrash trying to tell us. But then he dreams a dream. And the dream of Yaakov is very known. What does he dream? Do you remember? What does he dream? Wait, before the angel. He dreams that there is what? There is a ladder. There is a ladder. In Esura Mutzav Arza, the ladder is based on the ground. Verosho Magia Shamaima, and the top of the ladder reaches the heavens. Vehine, and what is in the ladder? Malache Elohim Olim Veyordim bo. Yaakov is dreaming, and he dreams that there are angels going up and down. And what is the symbolism of this dream? There is so many mefarshim, so many explanations. Let's see what you remember. What is the meaning of angels that go up and down? And of course, this is a message to Yaakov, to the dreamer. Hashem is sending him an idea, a message to him. What is this message telling Yaakov?
That the angels following him, that when he breathed, the angels following him, and angels.
Okay, so Malachim Olim Beyordim, where do usually angels reside? In heaven or in earth? In heaven, so why do they go up and then they come down? It should be Malachim Yordim Veolim, they come down and up. So there, Chachamim explain, because there were angels protecting him in Eretz Israel, so they're going back, and now Hashem is sending him angels that are going to protect him in Chutz La'aretz. What does this dream mean to Yaakov? Hashem is going to be with him. What is the state of mind of Yaakov? Lonely, he's left his house, he's going to the unknown, he's for sure afraid, vulnerable. What do I do? Like, I come from this bubble. I was in yeshiva. I was in Shem Va'ever yeshiva. I was with my rabbi studying Torah. And I have to go there to the house of Lavan. We have midrashim that say that the son of Eliphaz came after him and he wanted to kill him. And at the end, what he does, he steals from him all what he had. Yaakov convinces him, take everything I have, because ani chashuv kamet. If you take all my belongings, I'm going to be poor. It's going to be considered as if I'm dead. So don't worry. It's like you did it. You fulfilled your mission. But Yaakov is in a very vulnerable state of mind. He's scared. He is going to the unknown. He doesn't know where is he going. He doesn't know if this God that his father and his grandfather discovered is a God that protects you only in Eretz Israel. Abraham, my grandfather, had to leave Haran for him to come to Canaan and to have the blessings of Hashem. And I'm leaving. Will I be protected? Will everything, will the brachot that I did so much balagan to take them from my brother, will they continue? Will they protect me? It seems, according to this dream, that yes, that this is going to be Hashem's protection is going to come with him also in Chutz La'aretz. What other perush you remember? What does it mean? Malach Elohim olim veyordim bo. What does it mean? The sulam, the ladder that is based on the ground but touches the heavens. Chachamim, there is other perushim that say that this represents the ladder itself, represents the tzaddik, represents every Jew that his head should be directed to heaven. His goal, his achievements should be, I want to become more spiritual. I want to study more Torah. I want to get closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu. I just mentioned that I want to see the girls from Israel. I'm sure they feel at this moment that they're standing in the ladder in heaven. They're on the top. We are touching the heavens, getting close to Kadosh Baruch Hu as much as we can. But don't forget, that ladder has to be grounded in the floor, in the ground. You cannot stay there in heavens. Malach Elohim olim veyordim. You have to go up and down. Go up, study, learn, achieve, absorb, but come down, share, be part, mingle with others, make that Torah that you took part of everyone, of everybody else. So who stays up there in heaven? Only the angels. We are not angels. We are supposed to be able to connect Shamayim Ba'aretz, heaven and earth. And I think this is the most challenging thing. It's much easier, let's say a person that, a person that becomes observant, that makes teshuvah, that discovers the way of the Torah. It is much easier to stay up there and never to come down and not to connect with anybody else. I'm only in the yeshiva and I don't look, when they put this, you don't look to the side. It's much easier than to come down and to keep your high level. It's very difficult, but this is what is demanded from us. That's why we're not angels. We are basar badam, human beings. We have the Torah. We are supposed to bring the Torah and make our lives in this world with our feet in the ground, but connected with the Shamayim. That's a very deep idea that I really like it. But Yaakov Avinu is dreaming. Somehow Hashem is telling him, don't worry, I'm protecting you. I'm going to be with you. And when Yaakov wakes up and he says, whoa, I realize this is a very holy place, right? Sorry, I want to read the psukim. They're so beautiful. Because on this ladder, Pasuk 13, and behold, Hashem was standing over him and he said, I am Hashem, God of Abraham, your father, and God of Yitzchak. The ground upon which you are lying, to you will I give it, and to your descendants. This is the promise of Eretz Israel. Your offspring shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall spread out powerfully westward, eastward, northward, and southward, and all the families of the earth shall bless themselves by you and by your offspring. Which brachot are these? These are the brachot that Abraham received, that Yitzchak received. Two brachot are the brachot. One is the bracha of the promise of Eretz Israel, and the second bracha is the bracha of descendants. So we see, if anybody had a doubt on the previous parasha, how righteous it was that Yaakov Avinu took the brachot bemirma, by perhaps not such a straightforward way. Here we see Hashem himself is blessing Yaakov. We got the chotemet, we got the seal. Yaakov is the one to continue Yitzchak's way, Abraham Avinu's way. So Hashem is blessing him, and Hashem is telling him, behold, I'm with you, I will guard you wherever you go, and I will return you to this soil, for I will not forsake you until I will have done what I have spoken about you. Yaakov awoke from his sleep and said, surely Hashem is present in this place, and I did not know. And he became frightened and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the abode of God, and this is the gate of the heavens. Yaakov arose early in the morning and took the stone that he placed around his head and set it up as a pillar, and he poured oil on its top, and he named that place Bet El. However, it was what the city's name originally. Then Yaakov takes a vow, saying, if God will be with me, will guard me on this way that I am going, will give me bread to eat and clothes to wear, and I return in peace to my father's house, and Hashem will be a God to me, then this stone which I have set up as a pillar shall become a house of God, and whatever you will give me, I shall repeatedly tithe it to you. So there are many questions regarding Yaakov's vow here. What is the question? Hashem just promised to you that he's going to be with you and he's going to protect you. What are you saying now? If Hashem will protect me, then I will do this. What does it sound? Do you understand the question? Didn't Hashem just promise to you that he's going to protect you? So what is the question? Few answers. Some rabbis will say that the order is not as we see it. As we know, en mukdam umeuchar b'Torah. In the Torah, sometimes things don't come exactly on the order it happened. So it could be that Yaakov is asking first to be protected, and then Hashem is protecting him. That's one answer. Another answer is that tzaddikim, this is so beautiful, even when they have the promise of Hashem for protection, for brachot, for success, for prosperity, they still live with the sense that is absolutely the opposite of entitlement. Not like us. Not like us, that we feel that we deserve everything, and when something is taken from us, we say, why? The tzaddikim, the opposite. Even Hashem protecting, what if I am not deserving? What if I don't behave in the way that Hashem wants from me, and then I'm not going to have all those brachot? You understand? That's why Yaakov says, okay, if I get to that place and Hashem will be with me, etc., then I am making this vow. This is another answer. Another answer, I actually read it this morning. I never read it. It's very interesting. It brings a proof from other prophets, from Yirmiyahu, that once the prophecy that Hashem told him happened, was fulfilled, then he said, oh, now I know that indeed it was Hashem. Yaakov had a dream. He perhaps is hesitant. Is it really Hashem telling me this? Or it's my imagination? Or if it is a dream? So he says, okay, if this indeed will happen, then I'm going to make a vow. So this is in regards to the problematic of the words. But what is Yaakov asking from Hashem? What is the bracha that Yaakov wants? Titen what? Lechem lechol, where we speak about that. Imagine this is going to be our tefillah every morning. Hashem, please, just give me lechem lechol ubegel lilbos. This is what I want. Bread to eat and a clothes to wear. You know what? Want to wash and then change. Will we be happy? This is not what we ask. Well, this is what tzaddikim want. Tzaddikim want from Hashem to have what I need, to have my needs covered. And actually, we know by the research that is done that wealth, I've said this many times, that wealth does not add to our happiness. Not being rich doesn't make you less happy. Not having your needs covered, yes, that affects your happiness. So Yaakov is asking from Hashem, please Hashem, cover my needs. And in general, if we think about today, about ourselves, a family that doesn't have their needs covered, you cannot focus on your tefillah, you cannot focus on your limud Torah, you cannot focus on serving Hashem. When your needs are covered, you don't need to worry if you're going to be able to pay your mortgage, to pay your bills. You can serve Hashem besimcha. This is actually the tefillah of Yaakov. Okay, so I am going very fast. There is much more that we can go, but my subject today is a different one. Let's go after this bracha, after this reassurance from Hashem. Yaakov lifted his feet and went toward the land of the Easterners. He's going to where his uncle Laban lives. He looked and behold, a well in the field. When you see well, smell shidduch, right? In the Torah. The well in the field. When did we have the previous well? It was with Eliezer and Rivka, right? So here is Yaakov, and he finds the well, and behold, 3 flocks of sheep lay there beside it, for from that well they would water the flocks, and the stone over the mouth of the well was large. How many details, how long the description. What does the Torah need to tell me? How is the well, and that there is a stone on top of it, and how many flocks have gathered there? Interesting, isn't it? The Torah is so short in words sometimes, but here we see descriptions. Don't forget that the book of Bereshit is not giving us so many mitzvot, but is giving us the description of the character of our avot and imahot, which is very important because from them is that we learn what is the right way to behave. We need to see how is Yaakov acting in all this encounter with the people of this strange land, what's going on, how are these people, what is that Yaakov is confronting now. So you see Yaakov is coming again from the home of his parents, Yitzchak and Rivka, from the yeshiva of Shem Ba'ever. We know that Yaakov was called Ish Tam Yoshev Ohalim. He was sitting in the yeshiva studying Torah. Now, Yaakov is the symbol of the Jew that goes out to exile. Yaakov is going to teach us how do we behave in exile? How do we survive as Jews that want to preserve and keep our values in a society that has values that are totally opposite to us? And it starts here. He didn't even enter the place. There is already a description that is telling us how are the people of that place. First thing that we see, there's 3, wait, what's that? 3 flocks, right? 3 flocks of sheep are there. What are they doing? Nothing. And there is a well, and the well is covered by a big stone. And the Torah is telling us that when all the flocks would be assembled there, they would roll the stone from the mouth of the well and water the sheep. Then they would put back the stone over the mouth of the well in its place. So it seems like, okay, who cares? But it's telling us that was the way. The well is covered, and they needed to wait for everybody to gather in order to roll that stone because it was very heavy. It seems to be that's the reason. So Yaakov said to them, my brothers. How is Yaakov approaching them? Very nice. My brothers, where are you from? And they said, we are from Haran. He said to them, do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? They said, we know. It's like, I ask you, do you know how to get to Steamboat? You say, yes, I know. Or you meet somebody, hey, wow, you are from Michigan. Do you know Mrs. Cohen? Yes. What does it sound? Like not very amicable. They're not going out of their way to answer yes, no, like yes and no answers. It is well with him? Yes, it is well. Nothing else. And see, his daughter Rachel is coming with the flock. Oh, here is Rachel. What do they do when they say here is Rachel? Stop bothering us. If you want information, he's the daughter. So we see that these are people that are not very friendly, very nice. And after Rachel, they point at Rachel that is coming. Yaakov doesn't let go. He tells them, look, the day is still long. It is not yet time to bring the livestock in. Water the flock and go on grazing. But they said, we will be unable to until all the flocks will have been gathered and they will roll the stone of the mouth of the well. We will then water the flock. So what is Yaakov telling them? Yaakov, first of all, we see that they are not nice to him. The most natural thing would be for Yaakov to just turn and go to Rachel, but he says something is bothering Yaakov. He tells him, listen, it's the middle of the day. You're standing here. If you came to give water to your animals, give them water and go back to work. Usually the day of work is since the sun comes out till the sun sets. There is still time. Why don't you go and keep grazing? I say, no, because we cannot do it. We need to wait for everybody to gather. What does it show about their honesty? Why are they there then? They should be working. They should be grazing more and not come early to wait. Imagine everybody has the break in the factory for lunch at 12, and then you go at 10:30 and you wait, and then you ask them, what are you doing here? We're waiting for lunch. So why don't you have lunch? Because you have to wait until they open the doors. So why do you come at 10:30 if you know that the doors open at 12? Something like that is happening here. So now Yaakov said what he had to say. And while he was still speaking with them, Rachel had arrived with her father's flock, for she was a shepherdess. And it was when Yaakov saw Rachel, daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the flock of Laban, his mother's brother, Yaakov came forward and rolled the stone of the mouth of the well and watered the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother. What is repeated 3 times in this pasuk? Read it by yourselves. What is repeated? His mother's brother. His mother's brother. Again, Yaakov saw Rachel, daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Yaakov came forward and rolled the stone off the mouth of the well and watered the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother. What does it tell us? I leave it for a second. Then Yaakov kissed Rachel and he raised his voice and wept. Yaakov told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebekah's son. Then she ran and told her father. What do we see? What does it tell us? What happens between Yaakov and Rachel? What is Yaakov's reaction when he sees her? Before that, before that, he takes care to give water to the animals. So we find here, first of all, that Yaakov is either he's very strong and does what 3 men cannot do, or these 3 men are very lazy and Yaakov is not lazy, or is because the happiness of seeing his cousin that he's doing this, or is because he wants so much to show Rachel who he is. We don't know. But the fact that it repeats in the pasuk that Rachel is the daughter of his mother's brother, what does it tell us? He's very close to his mother. It could be very well that Rachel looked like Rivka. And then it gives, I think we never said this, but then it gives a little bit of understanding why he's crying when he kisses her. All the feelings that he had, when you are keeping inside that you are so sad that you have to leave your home, you have to leave your mom, you have to go to strangers. Suddenly you see somebody that reminds you of your mom, that looks at your mom, and you embrace her because she's a relative. All those feelings come out. It could be that that's why he gets so emotional. Of course, the Midrash is going to say that he was crying for the, I don't know if you have Rashi there. He's going to die when, where is that? לפי שצפה ברוח הקודש שאינה נכנסת עמו לכבודה. ברוח הקודש, in prophecy, he could see that Rachel is not going to be buried with him. Where is he going to be buried? In Marat HaMachpelah, He's going to be Marat HaMachpelah, like Abraham, Sarah, Yitzchak, Rivka, himself, Leah. But this Rachel, that he sees her, that he likes her, she's not going to be part of this. That's one explanation. The other one, לפי שבה בידיים ריקניות, אמר אליעזר, עבד אבי, אבא, היו בידיים נזמים וצמדים אדניות, אני אין בידי כלום. So he says, I feel so bad. I see the girl that I want to marry, I am going to pursue, and I have nothing to give her. Like Eliezer came with so many gifts for Rivka. So that's another midrash, but at least we can understand. This is a man that is coming with a heart full of feelings, and suddenly he's seeing this girl that looks like his mom, and then רחל באה עם הצאן של אביה, כי רואה, when he sees it, he gives them, וישק, פסוק י"ב, 12, Yaakov told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebecca's son. Then she ran and told her father. What is the difference when Eliezer and Rivka meet and when Yaakov and Rachel meet? What happens when Eliezer sees Rivka? Rivka gives the water to Eliezer. Rivka is the one tested for her chesed. Here, Yaakov has no animals. Yaakov has nothing. So Rivka doesn't need to give him anything. He has already been there. Perhaps he already drank. And she just goes and tells her dad. And it was when Lavan heard the news of Yaakov, his sister's son, he ran toward him, embraced him, kissed him, and took him to his house. Again here, the Perushim, the Midrashim, don't buy so much this show of love from Lavan to Yaakov. He kissed him, he embraced him. You know what the Midrash says? That Lavan remembers when Eliezer came to call to take his sister Rivka, and he brought so many gifts. So he embraces him and he's checking him. Let's see, where do you have the diamonds? Where the bracelets? Where are the gems for my daughter? And then the kiss, even he was checking inside his mouth if he's hiding them. So again, did it really happen? We don't know. But the Midrash is trying to tell us, be careful with this Lavan. Is not what he shows, what he really feels. I read something interesting. Lavan's name is Lavan. Lavan is white. Evil doesn't always come in a way that you can see it. Usually is all covered. It looks good. It looks nice. The Nazis looked in the outside so educated, and they loved the classical music, and they were so nice in their way of talking, because evil doesn't have to look bad, kind of telling us, be careful. Laban looked a very correct person, but it wasn't. I realize I am just going into the details because it's so beautiful, but we spoke about the family of Yaakov. Okay, I'm going to run a little bit. So he wants to marry, right? Where do we see this? After he's here, he tells him, I don't have anything. Lavan says, doesn't matter, you are my flesh and blood. Then Pasuk 15, Lavan said to Yaakov, just because you are my relative, should you serve me for nothing? Tell me, what are your wages? From here we see that Yaakov was staying by him and he was already working. He wasn't there just doing nothing. Yaakov was a very honest man and hardworking. Lavan had two daughters. The older one was Leah, and the name of the younger one was Rachel. Leah's eyes were tender, while Rachel was beautiful of form and beautiful of appearance. So the Torah is telling us that he had two daughters. What does it mean that Leah's eyes were rakot, tender? What does it say about Leah? Okay, so this is Rashi. Rashbam says about Rachel that she was beautiful and refined. Apparently, Rachel is beautiful in every way, whereas Leah has only one feature of stunning beauty, her eyes. When you want to speak about somebody that is not so pretty, you can say she has a beautiful hair. Like you mentioned the one thing that is pretty. In this case, is the eyes. According to Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, the Torah is mentioning the redeeming side of her appearance. Ralbag suggests that she had a problem with her eyes, an eye disease which affected her otherwise good looks. That her eyes were rakot were actually the only side of her that was not good. But the clear conclusion here is of Leah's mediocre looks as opposed to those of her younger sister. Rashi, what does it say? That why Leah's eyes were rakot? Because there was a tradition in the family that Yitzchak and Rivka had two boys, and Lavan had two girls. For some opinions, twins and twins. So the older for the older girl and the youngest for the younger girl. According to this tradition, Leah knew that she has to marry Esav, and she did not want because she cared a lot about the character, and she wanted Yaakov. She wanted to be part of the house of Israel. And then she didn't stop crying. And that so much crying made her eyes to be very like small and like deep. Her tears have made her eyes red and soft. According to, so that's why Yaakov is choosing apparently Rachel. Yaakov loved Rachel, so he said, I will work for you 7 years. He puts the price, like to make sure that he's not going to refuse. 7 years of work. And Lavan had already time to see how hardworking is Yaakov. He's not going to refuse. So what does Lavan says? It is better that I give her to you than I give her to another man. Remain with me. So Yaakov worked 7 years for Rachel, and the most romantic sentence in the whole Torah is coming here. And they seemed to him a few days because of his love for her. Usually it's the opposite, right? When you want something and you cannot wait anymore, but he didn't care. I'm going to work. I'm going to do whatever it takes because I know at the end of the day, I'm going to have my beloved girl, Rachel, marrying me. And everybody knows the story. Wedding comes, Yaakov is being cheated, and he gets Leah instead of Yaakov. Leah instead of Rachel. And 25, and Pasuk Kaf Hey, and it was in the morning that behold, it was Leah. So he said to Laban, what is this you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I worked for you? Why have you deceived me? Laban said, such is not done in our place to give the younger before the elder. What is this sound in the ears of Yaakov? What you did to take the place of the younger is not the right way. This is not the way we do things here. What did you think to yourself? Of course, Lavan is a totally deceiving person. He could have said that when Yaakov wanted to ask Rachel. Tell her then. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You have to marry Leah first. So complete the week of this one, and we will give you the other one too. For the work you will perform for me at another 7 years. So he gets both girls, Rachel and Leah, 1 week after the other, but with the commitment to work 7 more years, which means Yaakov has to work 14 years to get his Rachel. Not 7, but double. Okay, so Yaakov did so and completed the week for her, and he gave him Rachel, his daughter, to him as a wife, and Lavan gave Rachel, his daughter, Bilhah, his maidservant, to her as a maidservant. He consorted also with Rachel and loved Rachel even more than Leah, and he worked for him yet another 7 years. Hashem saw that Leah was unloved, so he opened her womb, but Rachel remained barren. Leah conceived and bore a son. She called his name Reuven, as she had declared, because Hashem has discerned my humiliation, for now my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bore a son and declared, because Hashem has heard that I am unloved, he has given me this one also. And she called his name Shimon. Again, she conceived and bore a son and declared, this time my husband will become attached to me, for I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore he called his name Levi. She conceived again and bore a son and declared, this time let me gratefully praise Hashem. Therefore she called his name Yehuda. Then she stopped giving birth. Okay, so first of all, the Torah says that he loved Rachel more than Leah. How did it feel for Leah? If she felt that he hated me. Actually, our Mefarshim speak about this, and the second here. According to Ramban Nachmanides, Leah was hated. After all, she deceived and betrayed her father when he brought her to the wedding. Could she not have told Jacob or signaled to him that she was Leah? So apparently, this deceit that Lavan did on Jacob made Jacob hate also Leah. Because you could have told me that you are not Rachel. Why did you let me be with you and marry you thinking that you are Rachel? That is why Jacob hated her. But Hashem knew that Leah did it so that she could marry the righteous Jacob. This is what Ramban says. That's why Hashem is going to protect Leah or be considerate with her. At the beginning, both of them were barren. They couldn't have children. So Hashem patach et rachma shel Leah, gives her the opportunity to have children. And she's going to have 4 children at the beginning, one after the other. Just try to imagine Rachel and Leah. How is Leah feeling? How is Rachel feeling? Okay? The Torah describes Leah as a lonely and unloved woman. Every child that she bears is accompanied by a heartfelt wish for companionship from her husband, the names that she gives them. Reuben, look everyone, I have a boy. Shimu, listen to this. Hashem is not letting me be embarrassed. Levi, now perhaps my husband will come with me. The desire that she lives with all the time is, perhaps my husband will stop hating me. Perhaps now he will accept me. Perhaps now he will love me. This is how Leah lives in this relationship, craving for the love of her husband. Only on the birth of the 4th child, how does Leah names him? Yehuda. Ata odeh et Hashem. Chachamim tell us that Leah is the one to discover or to teach us the art of being thankful, of thanking Hashem. We don't see until Leah anyone in the Torah saying to Hashem, thank you for what you give me, Yehuda. And we know that from Yehuda is our name of Yehudim, based in the essence of thank Hashem. Okay, so as I say, yes. This is just for kids. She has 4 children. Now, okay, don't forget that here, in these dynamics that we see with the wives of Yaakov, it's also, no, she has another child. It's now, for now. Okay, but that is not because she thanked Hashem, because that was the plan. The plan was that Hashem was giving her 4 children, one after the other. There are 2 women, one is suffering, one feels rejected by her husband. Hashem is kind of giving her comfort throughout maternity, giving her children. And the other one was the woman that Jacob was in love. Is she happy, Rachel? Rachel is not happy. So let's go to Rachel. פרק ל' פסוק א', ותרא רחל כי לא ילדה ליעקב. When Rachel says that she didn't give birth to any children to Jacob, ותקנא רחל באחותה. What is Rachel feeling? Jealousy. She's jealous on her sister. ותאמר אל יעקב, and then she comes to Jacob, give me children, otherwise I'm dead. Give me children, otherwise I'm dead. Jacob's anger flared up at Rachel and he said, Am I instead of God who has withheld from you fruit of the womb? So what is Rachel saying? Give me children, I'm going to die. So what is Yaakov's answer to Rachel? Pray to Hashem, I'm not the problem. Look, Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, my children. And like Rachel was kind of telling him, you remember your father, Yitzchak? He was praying together with Rivka. They were praying together. Yes, but that's a different situation. They didn't have any kids. I have kids. You need to pray to Hashem. Some of Hashem say that Yaakov was already praying, but he was trying to teach Rivka. Every year when we speak about this parasha, we focus more on of suffering. When somebody's suffering, you don't come to that person with logic. You don't tell, oh, you know, this is how things are. It has nothing to do with me. So find a solution, find a fertility doctor, ta, 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 ta. Sometimes we make those mistakes. We give solutions. Rachel wasn't looking for solutions. Rachel was looking for support, for empathy, for, you know, to feel that her husband is still with her. You have 4 children that you're all the time taking care of them with Leah. What about me? I'm miserable. But Yaakov isn't. This is one way of seeing it. I read an article that was very eye-opening for me. It seems that Yaakov has to teach Rachel how things work for us according to the Jewish philosophy of things. Rachel is coming from the house of Betuel, of Laban, a house of Avodah Zarah. She doesn't know how you get things in life. And Yaakov is telling her, listen, in order for us to get something, we don't, whenever things are difficult, you realize and you learn that you don't depend on anything. You don't depend on your friend to help you. You don't depend on the best doctor. You don't depend on anything. The only thing you depend on is on Hashem, on praying to Hashem. And until she doesn't accept it and she doesn't learn it, she's not going to have children. This is another way of seeing what happens here. But Rachel, when she sees the answer of Yaakov, she acts. What does she do? She does what Sarah Imenu did with Yaakov, although a little bit of differences, but what she does, she takes her maidservant and she gives her to Yaakov, Ulai ibane mimena. Perhaps I'm going to build myself through her. I took a copy of Sforno, whenever Sarah gives Hagar to Abraham, brings Ulai kinat hayerech teorer hakoach lepeulotav veitchazek lehasig zera. Very interesting. Sforno says that at that point, they believed that if you gave your husband another woman to have a child with, your uterus, your womb would be so jealous of this relationship that will create some type of dynamics to make your uterus be able to be pregnant. And that's why they gave the maidservant. What we always know is that was a way of adoption. When you give your maidservant, she's going to have a child together with your husband. Those children are going to be yours. One thing that we learn here is indeed she has children, right? You see, Batal Bilha, Batel Yaakov Ben. Bilha has a son and a second one who is born here. Dan is born, Naphtali is born, then Leah, one is born, Gad, and then Zilpah has a second one. Okay, so we see that the relationship with this to do with how Hagar behaved with Sarah. It was okay, it was normal that your maidservant perhaps will get pregnant and have a child and everything will be okay. But what Hagar did, the arrogance that she felt because she had a child with Abraham, is what created all that conflict with Hagar and Sarah, and then you have to send them away from the house. Wow, I passed my time, of course. let me just summarize a few things that we see from these dynamics between Rachel and Leah. First of all, one important thing that we see is the desire to have children that a woman has. How the identity of a woman in the Tanakh is very much connected with fertility. The first time we are introduced to Sarai, the description about her is that she was sterile and la child, like she didn't have any children. That's how much it makes you feel, who am I? Now, there is a beautiful Perush that says that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the woman, she has the name of Isha and the name of Chava. Chava is Em Kol Chai, that you are the mother of all the children, and Isha speaks about you as an individual. So sometimes women forget that besides of being a mother, you are also an individual, and that might be why Yaakov is a little bit upset with Rachel. Im ein meta anochi, if not, I'm going to die. What? Why don't you have also your own personality, your own individuality, your own way of connecting to Hashem, your own potential that Hashem created you with? And by the way, we always speak a lot about this, not the time, is that we need to, even when we are involved with maternity and we have children, we cannot forget the other side, to be who we are and to advance in expressing our potential, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants that from us. He wants us to connect with him, to be and to do in this world. Sometimes women are so focused only on their children that they forget to take care of advancing in their life and who they are. And then one day the children leave the house and you look at the walls and then you say, what do I do with myself now? Who am I? You don't know even who you are. It's very important. And we see these dynamics between Rachel and Leah. I am in the middle of it. I cannot take more of your time, but pay attention what happens with Reuben, with these flowers, that they had an aphrodisiac power for fertility, and how Rachel wants them very much. And that's it. The tragedy of Rachel is that when she has her first son, Yosef, even when she has it, she's dreaming about the second one. Yosef li Hashem ben Achai, I want another one. And then when she has the last one, Binyamin, she's going to die, giving birth. Bezat Hashem, next week, perhaps I will devote a few minutes to summarize and to finish this idea of how the house of Yaakov was built. Thank you so much for being here. And Shabbat Shalom.